What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Gooner channel, a channel 100% dedicated to the Arsenal, who, as we all know, are by far the greatest team the world has ever seen. And, well, we've just won the Emirates Cup again. It was Arsenal 1, Monaco 1, and Arsenal won a penalty shootout that would have happened either way, 5-4. And, well, the best thing about that was that Aaron Ramsdale has now saved a penalty. And I thought that was a poetic ending to what has been a really good pre-season all round, but obviously there have been low points. The Man United game where we just didn't seem to turn up, not with anything like the desire to win that Man United had shown. We took that into the Barcelona game where they turned up without a sort of desire to win, and it hasn't really told us a great deal. We've had a good first chance look at Declan Rice. Haven't seen as much of him as we'd like, and today was no different. Yuri Timber, we all got a chance to see him. And also Kai Havertz, the enigma. Where will he play? Where will he fit in? Started on the bench today. And I just want to say, I think that the talk of David Raya coming in has already given Ramsdale a bit of a lift. There's been a lot of speculation that this is almost a done deal and that David Raya is coming in, and just I did a poll earlier and it's 75% roughly that would choose to stay with Ramsdale. But Ramsdale and Raya is going to be a really interesting matchup this season if it happens. And I think today I kind of got the feeling that Ramsdale was playing with that in mind. Had a really good game. And of course saved the penalty in the penalty shootout. But a real standout for me, and I'd made him man of the match. I don't think I was the only one, but I'm certainly in a minority, is Eddie Nketiah. I've been pretty vocal about, whether I think he's good enough for a first team position. Obviously, Jesus plays up there, but, if he's not fit for any reason, and it is Jesus, it can happen. Or if he goes off the boil completely. Eddie last season, low impact off the bench, hardly any impact at all. Really good spell of goals that dried up after that Man United game. And today I wasn't hugely excited to see him in the starting lineup, but I was wrong. Couple of beautiful through balls, coming deep to collect the ball, playing better with his back to goal, and the goal that he scored was beautifully taken off of a corner that they've obviously worked on, where he starts at the edge of the area and ghosts in, hits it sweetly on the volley into the bottom right. You couldn't fault that, really. I think that he looked as up for it as I can remember Eddie Nketiah being, and it's a pre-season friendly, so maybe the pace of the game is lower, but I think he stood out against everybody else. And again, this is part of this following Balogun, Eddie Nketiah debate that has been going on. I came down very heavily on the side of following Balogun and said, look, if there's any way that you can offer him the minutes that you would otherwise give Eddie. But it certainly seems with Following not in this squad again, and it looks like he's throwing his toys out of the Prem. The reports are that he's asked Arsenal to lower the amount of money that we're expecting to get for him. And it feels a little bit like there's too much agent involvement and too much angling for a move instead of just seeing what develops. And he does seem very desperate to get away. I think he was very swayed by the idea he might be going to Inter, and now that seems to have fallen apart as a little panic. West Ham are apparently in for him, but you do ask the question, why not just stay? Give it last season here and, be prepared for that. Could happen, right? A lot of people made Fabio Vieira their man of the match for this game. For me, I didn't. I liked the way he played. He came in as a sort of replacement for Saka, but obviously more inside. We played a different formation. But he did drift very wide and stayed very wide, and can't fault his key passes. Absolutely great. His involvement, he had second most touches in the game. But for me, I'd still like a little bit more strength from him. He does go over a little bit easily, and I don't know how often we're going to play this formation with a double pivot with Partey and Rice. Like all of our formations, it doesn't really end up like that. But I thought Fabio Vieira, whilst not directly a replacement for Saka, he did a good job. And, along with the goal he scored against Barca, that's going to have helped him raise his stock. I'd still like to see him win more duels. But Timber, he came in and played instead of Zinchenko or in the left-back berth. Obviously, with Rice and Partey in there's not as much room to invert, but he did still spend most of his time in that midfield position, confident on the ball. He looks like that's his natural position. I know that when we signed him, everybody was talking about whether he would replace Ben White or if it was fair on replacing Ben White. I think Zinchenko is the player who's going to have to look over his shoulder a little bit this season because, well, he's shown that Kivior can play there. We know that Tomiyasu can play there. Timber's playing there really well now, and Tierney's still in the squad. There is going to be a battle royal for that left-back position if Zinchenko doesn't have it in him to really fight for this one. And what I will say is we all know about Zinchenko, his injuries. So if he's only going to play 24 games this season, it's great to know we've got this much backup. Emil Smith-Rowe, I was thrilled he started. I've been wanting to see more of him. And the beginning, there was definitely touches, him on the ball, but it didn't seem to find him enough. He wasn't involved enough. And I know he's not ready. He hasn't had the minutes that some of the other players have. And he may still be a bit fatigued after the European Championships that he won with England. But he's obviously in the reckoning, and that's great. I'm so glad we kept Partey. There's another one where I feel almost like I have to explain myself a little bit. I said from the outset that if we could only keep one of Xhaka or Partey, I would keep Xhaka. Obviously, it's Xhaka that's gone. Partey then, with Declan Rice coming in, was apparently looking for a new challenge in his career. That hasn't materialised. He's determined to stay. Today I saw Thomas Partey fitter, stronger and more raring to go than I've seen him for a while. And hopefully this is because Arteta's got to him. Hopefully because now the competition is there, he knows he's got to bring his best game. I think across the pitch, we're starting to see that having competition for places generates improved performances in a way that very little else can. Thomas Partey was rock solid today, and I was just really thrilled he was there because Declan Rice was a little anonymous. He was further out wide than I would expect him to be in a double pivot normally, but yeah, you know, we all want. He had this moment where he nearly scored, didn't he? And that would have been absolutely beautiful. But if you could do it in the Community Shield, then that's where the season really starts for us all. I wonder if he will start Rice because he doesn't quite look like he's picked up he doesn't quite look like he's settled into the team. But one player who absolutely looks at home is Kai Havertz. Came on today and look, close technique. He's excellent. And it's all about now how he judges his position and space. But I'm really quietly excited about Kai Havertz. I think he brings something slightly different to the team, but can also fit in and be versatile. No Saka today. I don't know why that is. He was on the bench. Most likely they're keeping him fresh as a daisy for the Community Shield on Sunday, which is so exciting. We've had a whole pre-season. It's gone really quickly. It's been exciting. There have been a few lulls, but on Sunday, might not be the first game in the Premier League, but this is the start of the season, the curtain raiser. Everything that went before the Barcelona, Man United, All-Stars games and Monaco, these are just appetizers. They give you a taste of the feast to come. And I hope that this season gets off to a flying start because I think with these new additions, with players like Kivior showing a new side to themselves, with Trossard, every time you watch Trossard, whichever position he's put in, he gives you hope that something is about to happen. If Arteta can learn some lessons from last season, I think his main issues last season were he didn't trust the squad enough. Now I think he does. I think he has, 22 players that he's really happy with, 3 additions to that. The 25-man squad, I think, is where it needs to be, particularly if Raya comes in and you replace Turner for Raya. Can he give young players a chance? I was disappointed Cozy Dewberry isn't on the bench today, didn't get any minutes. But I think he's one to watch this season. This could be his first season. Can Arteta learn to use the bench better? You can't really judge on pre-season friendlies because it's that whole chuck everyone on at half-time or in the 60th minute. But I would hope that there are more choices for him on the bench now and that he will be using that tactically more often than he did last season. And can he, most importantly, can he keep this team's spirits high? Even when there are players in there that are, angling for a move, like following Balogun, he has this habit of just sending them away, which I think is important. If this team is a year older and if this team is a year wiser after its results last season, then I don't see any reason at all why we can't be front runners. But I'm going to feel completely differently if we get mauled by Man City at Wembley on Sunday. I'm going to do a prediction match and a preview match for that. But in summation of our pre-season friendlies, the ones that weren't at 4 o'clock in the morning, which was a nightmare Barcelona game, I think that what we're seeing is a really cohesive squad with very few gaps. The one area of weakness that is easily identifiable is right wing. You do have Jesus who can play there. Kai Havertz can obviously play there. Saka can play there. Today we saw a slightly different formation to take account of that. So we have options. We have different tactics we can play. And we hopefully are as hungry, if not hungrier than we were last season. Anyway, that was our pre-season. We are only days away from real football coming back. Real heart-stopping, jaw-clenching, beautiful football. Till I see you again. Be lucky and lots of love.